We're back in OU today, trying out normal Ogerpon. Normal Ogerpon can hold an item, which is the one distinguishing characteristic between it and the other Ogerpon. Notwithstanding being able to hold an item, I still think it's probably worse than at least the fire one. But we're trying out the grass one today just to be able to see what it can do. And as for the rest of the team, we've got Spadef on the Corviknight so that it can try to beat Ursaluna. And then we've got a bunch of other good Pokemon for offensive teams. Cinderace is here to steal Veil, and Ditto is here to copy things like Baxcalibur and whatever after they set up. This team is pretty Dragapult weak, I have found, so we'll have to watch out for that. I'm going to actually lead off with my Iron Valiant. They lead off with their Dragapult. I'll just Moonblast here, because I don't really have any good... Actually, no. Let's go Corviknight. Let's make the smart play. They go into their own Corviknight, which is funny. Oh, Iron Defense up. I don't think they go back into their Dragapult on this. Yeah, I figured they would go into Ninetales. Let's see if they have Encore. They go for Blizzard and do no type of damage. Now Defog here on their Aurora Veil. And we go again. And I'm not sure why they're not going into their Dragapult. Because clearly the Dragapult walls this, right? I feel like that's what you should have been gone into. At this point, do I really want this anymore? It's good, I guess, for the Baxcalibur maybe, and the King Gambit. Maybe. But I will tell you what's not good in this game is Ogerpon. Doesn't beat their own. Doesn't really beat much else. I'll just sack it. They go for Flamethrower. Means I can go into Cinderace here and quick Court Change. Yeah, this is almost certainly Specs. So now I will go for the U-turn. This could be Ice Body, but we're not messing around with that one way or the other. As I will go into my Corviknight. And we'll just start throwing off body presses. That doesn't do very much, unfortunately. And then they make the interesting decision to go for Scale Shot. And I will just go for Icicle Spear here. I don't want them to Terra Fairy or anything weird like that. This isn't the end of the world for them because they obviously have King Gambit. But it's still sort of a weird play to make. Go Cinderace on the Iron Head, and I'll just Will-O-Wisp here, because burning this is really good. Okay, we hit our Power Ball, which is somewhat unexpected. We do outspeed the Ogerpon, and we can hit it with Fire Move. And we hit Corviknight super effective. Sacking this isn't really the greatest idea. I'll go Landorus here. I can tank one Shadow Ball. And then we can just throw off an Earthquake. They probably don't expect me to be Choice Scarf. So that's a nice little bait. And then here we can just go for the Shadow Ball. We're not risking them going... Like, I could have U-turned there and made some funky play where I predicted the Corviknight to come in, but if I U-turned out first and then I had no switch-ins, that would have been really bad. Here I'm going to Shadow Ball one time to see what they want to do. They may knock off. They go for Trailblaze, which is not a good play in my opinion because, like, I can come out and copy you, and when I copy you, I'll actually get another attack boost. At least that's how I saw it happen yesterday. So now I'm +1 speed, +2 attack, and I have Ivy Cudgel with fire. So that's game. Yep. That's why you have Ditto. Now we're facing an interesting team with a bunch of mons you don't usually see, even in a metagame before this one. I don't really know what they're doing with these 6 mons. Specs Espeon, Screens Espeon, or is it just there for Magic Bounce because they have Specs Armor Rouge? Very odd. In this game, my Ogerpon is sort of walled by their Scizor. But it's decent against the ground types at the very least. I think I'll lead it. Because if they lead it with one of their ground types, like I said, it would be good to do some damage to them. They were Rocky Helmet, so I take a good amount of damage. Just gonna go for Ivy Cudgel here. They decide to blow their Terror right off the bat on a Mon that I've already knocked off. I mean, I'll take that. I'm gonna go into my Landorus here. They go for Whirlwind. I get my Ditto out so I can see that they are hard walled by my Landorus. Aside from the Ruination, that is. And they have no ground type switch-ins on this team, which is a major issue for them. Yeah, I'm gonna actually Will-O-Wisp because I predict them to probably want to Whirlwind again. They can Ruinate, I suppose, if they want. But I'll go back into Landorus here. And we'll go back into Landorus again. Okay. Well, this Landorus doesn't really need its HP quite so much. It would be maybe nice for the Scizor, but that's about it. A little bit unfortunate I took 50 on the Cinderace. But for Scizor, we still do have the Corviknight. They may just want to U-turn out here, but I don't want to risk it. Cool play. Cool play. But what we can do here is Terra Water. I don't think Terra Water is a bad... Well, maybe it's a bad play. Okay. I second thought that one, and I figured it was probably not a good thing. Shadow Ball. I wonder if you're Sash or you are not. An Earthquake here. If they're Focus Sash, then I don't want my Iron Valiant, which is my win con, to find out the hard way, as I figured they would be, given that they have Espeon. But now I have +2 speed Ditto, which is not easy for them to switch into. We'll just Armor Cannon. I don't care if they go into the Quaquaval or something like that. I figured they'd save it. Or they wouldn't save a 1 HP guy. Now they probably will go Quaquaval, but as we've seen, I have Ditto, and so this is not really an issue for me. Here we're gonna sack the Cinderace. Cool. And now I can go back into Ditto. As they are not close combat, they are Brick Break. Unfortunate. They go for Aqua Step, and I win a Speed Tie there, which is great. Now the question is, how much does this Scizor do, or take from Brick Break? Scizor? Don't know how to spell today. Let's say bulky OU utility pivot, something like that. Against Qua. Oh. How do I do this? Against Quaval. I don't know what this is. Use Sword Stance. Except for instead of close combat, we have Brick Break. So it is +2. Notice the health is 71%. Yeah, and that is a more bulky version. We go for Trailblaze. Means I can go for Iron Defense here. And that's not a great thing for my opponent. Trying to figure out what they do against Iron Defense. Corviknight. I'm just gonna, body press here. In case they decide they want to go for the trick. As we are able to 3KO that. And now I am Choice Scarfed. Funnily enough, even though I'm Choice Scarf, I'm actually quite slow because I'm meant to underspeed Ursaluna so that it can't go for the Earth Power when I roost. And so I think my opponent has realized what position they put themselves in there. Yeah, that Espeon is not a threat. That's one of the reasons why Espeon is really not OU caliber, even though it has a really cool ability. Like, Trick just doesn't really threaten a lot of Mons in a lot of instances. And since I was already set up, I knew I just had to start attacking from there. Now we're fighting a really weird Trick Room or Stall team. I'm not really sure what's going on here. It's very bulky, which actually is going to be a bad thing for this team this team really struggles with bulky offense or stall, because this is more supposed to be anti-offense. And it does not the greatest job of it either, I'm to be honest. But Corviknight will be useful against their Bronzong and maybe against their Dragonite, and that's about it. Pretty bad against the Zoroark. I'm going to lead off with the Cinderace in case they decide to go for like Trick Room with their Bronzong. And Burning Dragonite would be fantastic too, but this could also be Zoroark, as it is Dragonite. Now we go into the Corviknight on this. And there's no way they're going to stay in, so I'm going to go back into Cinderace. And hopefully we can get a burn on something else, as they actually did stay in. So, cool play. At this point, I will go into my Iron Valiant, and I'm going to go for Shadow Ball. And then I will switch here into my Landorus. And it's like, I guess they're just sacking this. Fair enough. That's their plan. I would have thought they would have switched at least once there, but that was not the strategy they wished to employ. Alright, Corviknight, go in. Technically, this could be the Zoroark again, which is extremely annoying, but this Corviknight is sped up, so we should be able to take a hit from Zoroark. Yeah, there's the hit from Zoroark. Okay. Terra Water, Roost, go. Okay. Unfortunately, even though I can take a hit from it, I can't actually do anything about that. And they get luck with Burn, so that's really bad. I'm just gonna Iron Defense up, and then see if I can live a hit and get some damage off on this Azumarill. They aren't worried about getting counterswept by Ditto because they have their Dondozo, but I still need to pressure this Azumarill out, so we still have to come in anyway. As I'll just go into my Ogerpon here. There's a fairly obvious switching. But we know this isn't the Zoroark, obviously. And here I will go for the knockoff. Deals with the Bronzong coming in. And a lot of things. But not that. Now we've got to go for the Moonblast here. Always Moonblast. Don't care if Bronzong wants to come in. Okay. Ogerpon comes back in and clicks the Ivy Cudgel. I've shown knockoff. Yeah, there we go. Oof, rough game. First of all, my opponent is playing sort of crazy. And then second of all, it's a rough game because the team matchup is just really bad. Alright, Moonblast though should pick up the KO. And they, unless they are Choice Scarf Zoroark, which I'm fairly confident they're not going to be able to switch into this very well. Here we'll go into Landorus. They do get the poison, of course they do. But I mean, to be fair on Muck, it's pretty easy to get the poison. And here I'm going to go into Ditto, because I figured they'd do that. And now I'll go into Iron Valiant. Hopefully they don't double liquidation. I didn't think they would. And now Moonblast is free against this. And here we will go into the Landorus again and die. So we can go into Ditto. And I will click the knockoff. Not only does it deal with the Zoroark coming in, which I don't think it would, but in case it does. Okay, good play on their part. I probably should have doubled, to be honest. But that was going to be a rough game no matter what. Just because this team is really specifically meant for more offensive teams. AKA it's not a good team. Okay. Now they've got a Dragalge, which is not really a mon you usually see in this here. but I respect it. Unfortunately for them, it's completely walled by my Corviknight. And then the rest of the mons, except for Drift Bloom, are pretty standard. And then they've got the Drift Bloom, and I don't know what the heck that's doing here. Maybe if like they had Shiftry, I could see like Tailwind Drift Bloom or the Wind Rider, but I don't know why that's there. In any case, I'm gonna lead off with my Iron Valiant. Okay. They could be Scarf of their own. I don't want that to be the case, so I'm gonna go into my Landorus here. We'll scout to see what they want to do. If they're Scarf, they'll either Earthquake or U-turn. They go Azumarill. What do we want to do here? Do I need this Mon? That's good for the... maybe a little bit, but not that much. Okay, we got some good damage on that. So now I will go into my Iron Valiant, which has no switch-ins on their team, which is why we led it, because it had no switch-ins to their team. And if they had led off with a more defensive Mon, then it would have been fine. Okay, so the Azumarill's gone, and we didn't allow it to belly drum up, although it didn't appear to have been belly drum since they didn't get it buried. Interestingly, they go into Garg, which I would have thought this would have been one of the few Mons that wouldn't want to come in on me, because I am Specs Moonblast. And this will do half your health, so you 2 KO'd. And you still have no switch-ins to me. Okay. We don't see leftovers or anything on this. So I'm gonna go into my Corviknight. As they have not healed up yet. I think they may U-turn here. But in case they don't, we do want to switch out. Okay, so they're just offensive. But the thing is that offensive doesn't outspeed me. And I can Moonblast here. They could have Endure plus the Focus, or not Focus Dash. Endure plus like a Salak Berry? No, I would have put him into Salak Berry range. Okay. So I don't know what the heck that was all about. Alright. Here we're going to go into my Ogerpon. At this point I don't need it. So we're just sacking it. Technically, I could be Choice Scarf with a high crit move, but they don't really care. And I don't blame them. Here, I'm going to go for Will-O-Wisp, but they could always be Substitute, which would be sad. But I do want to scout that. If they want to Iron Defense up, then that will give my Ditto more boosts. Although that might just be Copium on my part. Okay. Fireball again. Now, I'm gonna U-turn and see if that breaks the sub. They'll probably just blow me out of the water here. In terms of Terras, I don't really have anything for it. So, as you can see, the Ditto doesn't work behind a Substitute, and all the rest of my Mons got outsped and killed. So I definitely threw that endgame. I should have just Pyroballed off the rip, I think. Or maybe something else. I'm not exactly sure what I could have done there. Okay, here we go. Pretty scary team. I'm gonna lead off with my Cinderace here, because it allows me to Will-O-Wisp turn 1. And if I can Will-O-Wisp this Gliscor, then it doesn't get recovery for the entire game. Right. Well, first of all, we noticed that they're not actually Toxicorb on this. It might be like Choice Band even. Who knows? But that was great turn 1. We're off to a fantastic start. Iron Valiant. Moonblast. They have no switch-ins to Iron Valiant's Moonblast. They're Focus Sash. Alright. That's the reason I really hate Cinderace. Cinderace misses Will-O-Wisp and misses Pyro Ball. Only good when you're clicking Court Change, and if Court Change were on any other Pokemon, almost, you know, with a decent enough stat distribution, then I would prefer it on that. Okay, I can switch out here into my Ogerpon. We'll take a lot of damage, but we can get a knockoff here. And I don't think they really have anything else to switch into this except for their own Ogerpon, which they may go into. But instead they sack their Golden Go. So that was their one Iron Valiant answer. I mean, technically Ogerpon Fire is another Moonblast switch in. But I could always go for a fighting move, which I don't have, right? Unfortunately, but I could. Alright, here we will go for knockoff as they get the speed tie win. So that's been unfortunate. Okay. Here, I'm going to go into my Landorus and just click the Earthquake. I don't want to necessarily have to go Landorus this early, but it is quite good in this particular matchup. I'll just Earthquake again. And then we'll go Corviknight here and Iron Defense up, because that's almost certainly banded. And so I can start getting a couple of boosts with Iron Defense. That'll allow my Body Press to hopefully beat the Ogerpon. Now, Ogerpon has Mold Breaker, which makes it really good against a lot of unaware mons and whatever. But Mold Breaker does not go past the raw stats. A crit from Ivy Cudgel would, but if I turn into a water type and Ivy Cudgel is a fire type move, then you have to rely on Power Whip or whatever the heck you have. I am Spadef, so if I'm at a reasonable enough health, I think I could live a hit from Manaphy. From like Energy Ball, right? But that would be the one instance I think we could win from this position here. Because if I could get like +4, maybe +6 is required. I don't have very much defense investment. I guess we'll see what my opponent wants to do. If they decide to stay in, that'll allow me to get a +4, no problem. And I'm fairly confident I'm going to Terra Water here, as they do allow me to do just that. As I will Roost up here. Because I do want to be at a good amount of health. Okay. And here's where we go for the Body Press. Because I'm pretty sure this will 2-hit KO. Ogerpon doesn't have the most defense. And as you can see, there you go. There's a crit from the Ivy Cudgel. But Horn Leech, Horn Leech will not kill me. And I can kill them in return. Yeah, they died. So I definitely didn't get out of that exchange super well, unfortunately. Maybe instead, of going for Roost and being healthy, if I had gone for another Iron Defense into Roost on the Terra, then we could have had something there. I'm not exactly sure if I got that order wrong. Here we'll just Body Press. Because I am Spadef. And that gives us some chip. I don't know if that chip matters, but it may matter. It may put them in range of the Iron Valiant. Wait, let's do that. And then we go to Manaphy. Well, let's say it's this set, because it's a bit bulkier. Moonblast doesn't kill, but Thunderbolt would. What if they are this set, which is more offensive? Then that still does not kill, so I've got the Thunderbolt here. Which I guess is okay. I guess if I had saved my Terra, then that would have been nice. Okay, yeah. Go Ditto here. Wait, no. Is that a throw? If I go Ditto here? I think that's a throw if I go Ditto here. Because, yeah, okay, there we go. If I went Ditto there... First of all, I guess they could have gone Manaphy. I would have been a Baxcalibur. I would have been Choice Scarf Baxcalibur, but still. Their Crawdaunt is only at 17%, and I'll be a full health Baxcalibur Ditto. They can't get a speed boost on me, and I can go for Scale Shot or Icicle Spear. Icicle Spear, I think, is the better option. Although, actually, what I should do is check and see if Earthquake kills Bax from this range. Baxcalibur. Something like this set. Baxcalibur. And Earthquake only does 30%. So I think Scale Shot is the better play. Okay, they did have Terra Fairy. The reason is if I had gone for Icicle Spear, it would have been neutral, and I didn't have on my own the loaded dice. So if I only got 2 hits, that would have been bad. Because as we can see here, Icicle Spear with 3 hits does 39%. Not that much. So I sort of had to go for that. But I forgot they did have their Terra, which means that it would have been more likely that they would Terra Fairy. So maybe I should have just gone for the rolls. Now we're facing Rain. That's a bit of an issue. I'll just lead off with Iron Valiant here. Click Thunderbolt, because they don't have a water or an electric switch in. If I can get rid of the Rain Setter right off the bat, that's fantastic. Okay, now we have to sack something. We're going to sack the Cinderace. It does nothing in this game. We go for Liquidation. I'm going to go into my Ogerpon. And we're going to click the Ivy Cudgel. I think that's the correct play. If this is Terra Water Liquidation, it might be able to kill me. I don't know. And here, I will go into my Landorus. There's no reason to try to kill it there if it's Choice Scarfed, because we can just waste rain turns. This is something... Oh, they actually have Politoed, so it's definitely not going to ever be able to outspeed here. Now they go Float Soul. I'm going to go Corviknight here and set up the Iron Defense. Because if I Iron Defense, I think I could just win. They go for Flip Turn. They don't even go for Wave Crash. Which is great. They do have Basculegion though, which is an issue. We'll go Ogerpon here. They actually Flip Turn again, which is really crazy that they would make a play like that. Okay, I'll just sack this now. The rain's going to end this turn, which gives me 1 turn to do something. I can't believe they Flip Turned there. Okay. Now I'm going to click Thunderbolt again. And they have to go into their Politoed and probably sack that. This is my one opening. The one chance. But they'll always go Politoed here. There's no reason why they wouldn't. I think, in theory, if I can copy their Bascu... Wait, what the heck? What are they, Choice Scarf? No, they're not. They sacked their one answer to my Corviknight. Okay, that's my one opening, my one chance right there. The fact that they sacked their answer to my Corviknight is insane. Okay, they Terra Grass there, which is fine. But they're actually still in range of Thunderbolt. Okay, so they actually were not Choice Banded that entire time. Let's go into Float Soul here. We'll just click the Wave Crash. Why not? They can't switch into this Wave Crash. And this is the end game I was hoping for. I just have something that completely destroys the rest of their team. They do get the Healing Wish there, which means I have to take a lot more recoil. Bit unfortunate, but it's also good to, I guess, waste that so it doesn't get wasted on the Politoed. And now they can go into Barraskewda. I'm gonna sack the Corviknight here. I don't know what this Politoed will have. I'm gonna Iron Defense here. And they can't trap me, is the main thing. They can either trap me here, or they can go... Well, I don't know if you would ever go hard Barraskewda here. Yeah, okay. So my opponent just decides not to win. Yeah, that Parashong isn't going to do much. And now they're -1 defense. And they don't have any priority. So let's just do a quick calc here. Because I don't want to lose this endgame, since my opponent gifted it to me. Barraskewda versus Barraskewda. Close combat just kills. Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, it's easy to win when your opponent gifts a game to you. But I shouldn't have never won that game. This team has nothing for Rain, really. Except for my Corviknight. Alright. Ursaluna again. I'd love to see my Corviknight actually beat this Ursaluna for once. And my opponent also has an Ogerpon grass form, which is sort of fun. I'm going to lead off with Cinderace. Try to get a burn on something. If possible. Yep. So now we'll just go for Will-O-Wisp. I could always go for the fire move, but I think that this, or like, I don't know, Mandibuzz might come out. And just getting a burn on those kinds of Pokemon is a lot more valuable. Here I can just go into my Landorus as they go for Stealth Rock. And now I will go for double into Iron Valiant. Because they may go Mandibuzz or Ogerpon. And my Iron Valiant is good against both of those. At least I think it's good against Ogerpon. Let's check the calc on this, shall we? My Iron Valiant versus Ogerpon. Let's just use the custom set I've got here. If I Terra Fairy, I will kill. But I also don't know what item this is. So instead, let's go into Corviknight. They go for Ivy Cudgel. Okay. Set up an Iron Defense here. They go into their Glow King, which does hard wall me. So that's fine. We'll go into Cinderace here. They are Trick Room on this set, which means I get a slow U-turn here. That means they went for Trick Room again, right? What that means? Uh-huh. Wait, what? Huh. Okay, I don't understand. But they're dead now. They're dead now. My Stars and Garters. That was one of the weirdest exchanges I've ever seen. I'm gonna come back to that after the end of this game. And try to explain what just happened there. Alright, here they will go for Blood Moon, and it does a lot of damage. I'm going to Roost, as they go for Focus Blast, and unfortunately for them, they miss. I'm going to Iron Defense up. The reason you would Iron Defense here is because I want to two-shot them just off the rip. Focus Blast is an interesting move to have on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Not one you usually see. Usually you see more of a Vacuum Wave set. I would also think if you were going to run Focus Blast, it would be a Terra Fighting. Focus Blast is especially weird just because normally Ursaluna doesn't struggle with Steel types because it has Earth Power. Only good against Corviknight. And against Corviknight, you have moves like Smackdown, which I unironically think is actually an underexplored option for Ursaluna. But it just depends on how many Corviknights are running around. But if you smack down, then I can't do anything and I will lose. Alright. So that's going to be the last game for today. But let's quickly just go over what just happened. Because that was a really weird exchange. I'm glad this Corviknight got to do something. Ogerpon hasn't done anything really meaningful. I don't think, despite the good speed tier, I don't think it has strong enough presence or a compelling enough move pool to be ran in the OU tier, especially compared to the other Ogerpons. I think this is a solid RU Pokemon. I don't think it'll be good in UU because it's got Slitherwing and Talonflame and things like that. But RU could definitely have it. Let's go back to turn 6. So here I switch into Cinderace. Slowking goes for Trick Room, and then my Cinderace outspeeds. What this means is that the opposing Slowking is holding a lagging tail. That's the only way that works. Not an Iron Ball, but a lagging tail, because a lagging tail doesn't lower your speed. It means you move last in your speed bracket every time. I think what they wanted to run was an Iron Ball, because under Trick Room, then you would be the fastest thing. But they're running lagging tail, which bypasses the whole point of Trick Room and makes you slower no matter what. So when I went into my Landorus here, first of all, I was not expecting Surf from a Galarian Slowking. If anything, Sludge Bomb, Psychic, Flamethrower would be normally what you would see. But Surf is acceptable, I suppose. But the main thing is, I was not expecting to go first, but the only reason I would have normally gone first is if they reversed to their Trick Room. So going into Cinderace means I'm going to outspeed in the next turn. They just go for Trick Room again, right? But the fact that they were lagging tail meant that no, they were actually going for an attack. Because they were lagging tail, that meant I could stay in with Landorus, outspeed, even though I was Choice Scarf. Then no world should I have ever outsped under Trick Room, but they were lagging tail, and I can kill it with that. What a very, very weird game to end this video off on. So we got a couple of wins against some unskilled players, and we got at least one or maybe 2 losses. This team is not very good. I don't think Ogerpon itself is very good. And I think this team definitely needs a few changes to Pokemon, just generally speaking. This Corviknight set is okay, I think. Being more Spadef hurts against certain mons that are physical that you normally want to beat. And it wouldn't be good, for example, if I had to face off against a Torterra with Shell Smash, right? But it is still Terra Water, which is good for the rain matchup, and it's good for this Ursaluna. At least in this instance, it shows that it works. Even when the Ursaluna actually still underspeeds me because of the Trick Room version, it actually still ended up working out okay. But yeah, that was a crazy video. We'll call it here today, and I'll catch you guys next time.